Good morning. Welcome. Welcome to Westside Unitarian Universalist Church. We are a church which welcomes you. We welcome a diversity of theological or non-theological belief, diversity racially, gender identity, sexual orientation, origin, family culture, family welcome. This is a special Sunday. Well, somewhat, they tend to all be special, but this is particularly special. This is our 2023 Canvas kickoff. Well, it's sort of kicked off early, but this is the celebration. We have a meal today. I don't even want to call it lunch because there's so much of it. Everybody, please stay. And if you haven't gotten your pledge forms yet, Ann Harvey is around. She will have it for you. We need your help, and we're celebrating. We're celebrating your being here or your being with us online. Announcements, well, Earth Church is today at 3 o'clock, and you don't have to be connected with this congregation to attend. The book club be meeting on Saturday the 22nd, 10 o'clock on Zoom, and there's information about that in your announcements or online. There's going to be a fair here. It's not, they're using our facility. It's not a West Side function, you should know, but it's a community fair with an entry fee of $3 or canned food to benefit the food bank. Death Cafe, the 29th. This is a chance to talk about one's thoughts and feelings and fears around death. And check out our newsletter for information on RE and on all of these. Return of potlucks. Yes, we're really getting out of the COVID shutdown. We're going to start, this is not a potluck because Finance Committee is providing it today, but there will be third Sunday potlucks starting in May. Now, does anybody have another announcement?
I do.
Reverend Carol.
Good morning, everyone. We have a couple of announcements to add. Good to see you all, by the way. I am Reverend Carol Bodeau, privileged to serve here as minister. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. And we do have a couple of opportunities in the next couple of days if you want to be using your voice for change in our society. So I have one, and then Yetta is going to explain one. So there are a couple of events happening over the next couple of days that you may want to participate in. So some of you know that in Unitarian Universalism there is an organization called Side with Love, which is sort of a social justice branch of the denomination. On Monday, tomorrow afternoon, there's going to be what's called Moral Monday. It's a march in Nashville. You can read more about it on our website. But it is... It's basically an opportunity to walk and add voices, responding to some of the things that have been happening in our local government. If you are interested in this, when you get home today or at the end of today's service, get on your phone. Do it in the middle of my sermon, by gosh, if that's what you want to do. I won't mind. Google it. You can sign up to join the Moral Monday March. If you sign up today, you'll get a link for this evening at 5 Central, I think 6 Eastern. There's a organizing meeting that's happening virtually this afternoon, this evening. And then tomorrow, people are meeting at noon at First UU Nashville, noon Central Time, and the march is at 2 tomorrow Central Time. So that's one option. And Yetta is going to explain, would you like to explain the one that's happening? There's one in Knoxville on Tuesday that you could participate in as well.
just to use the microphone because my voice isn't very loud. Yeah, so there's a protest on Tuesday between 6:15 and 6:45 on Market Square, the north end. And this is called Linking Arms for Change. And it's in response to some of the mass shootings that have been occurring, and I guess the expulsion of legislators from the Tennessee legislature. And Craig tells me there was another shooting this morning or today in Alabama. And I think this is why I think this is really important is I think the people who are harmed most by the proliferation of guns in our society are people who don't have the privilege and who have to live in areas that are more dangerous and go to schools that are at higher risk. So I guess people should wear red and be part of a human change spreading across this Market Square. And we'd love for you to come on Tuesday. And if you want to know more, please ask me.
Thanks. Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Hi, I'm Mary Frances Milligan. So this is not church, sponsored, but last month or two ago I spoke about some of my volunteer efforts, and I had a lot of people say, tell me when you're going to do something else. And so I wanted to go ahead and I put this on the Facebook group, but if you don't look at that or you got lost in the algorithm, okay. But next Saturday, and I know it's a busy day, but there's a multi-volunteer organization effort that is going across and doing a park-wide cleanup in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. We're having crews everywhere from Cosby all the way to Bryson City. Last year during this event, we cleared out over 4,000 pounds of trash out of the Smokies. So if you want to help out, I'm actually a team leader at the Foothills Parkway West, which is the one over by Walland, so it's very easily accessible to a lot of people. So if you want to help out, by all means, you go to saveoursmokies.org, sign up, say you want to be on my team on the Foothills Parkway West, and it starts at 8 a.m. And if you want to, we have a celebration afterwards at the Tremont Institute with food, music, and good times. So I really ask everyone to, if you feel so moved, to volunteer, spend some time, and you get to meet a lot of like-minded people, and it's a really good experience. So yeah.
Thank you, Mary Frances. That's awesome. We are going to begin together by singing. We're singing number 346 in your gray hymnal. Come sing a song with me. We're going to sing all 4 verses. So if you are so inclined, you can join by rising and body your spirit and sing with us as we sing Come Sing a Song with Me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and roses in the winter time. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share
is hard to find, and I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time.
Barry is going to light the chalice.
There he is, yes. I'd like to invite Barry Schumpert to light the chalice. Our chalice reading is from Khalil Gibran, and it's about giving. It is well to give when asked, but it is better to give unasked, through understanding. And to the open-handed, the search for one who shall receive is joy greater than giving. And is there aught that you would withhold? All you have shall someday be given. Therefore, give now, that the season of giving may be yours and not your inheritors. Ouch. For in truth, it is life that gives unto life, while you who deem yourself a giver are but a witness. Thank you, Barry.
So we would switch that up to have the bowl be second for a reason, because we're going to do something special this morning. So some of you may have noticed that our rainbow signs are once again gone from our sign out front of the building. So on our sign out front out here, we have rainbow placards that go on either side of the sign, so that as you're driving by from either direction, you will see the rainbow signs and understand that this is a safe place for LGBTQ plus people to gather. This so often is focused on as a political issue, but it's not. It's a heart issue. It's a love issue. It's about how we act loving in the world. This isn't about hate. It isn't about that. It's about love. It's about welcoming love in our space. So, I'm going to tell you what we did this morning. First, we had lots of comments that we like it kind of where we can see each other. So we're kind of switching things up and keeping us all on the same level. Enough of the hierarchy. We're all on the same level. We're all in this together. We're a circle. We're a community. And second, this morning, we got our rainbow flag out and we put it at the center. Because love is at the center. Our chalice sits on love. There have been shootings. There have been violent attacks. There have been hateful words. This place is about love. That is the center. And we've talked about what that means. You can translate that any way you like. It means compassion. It means open-mindedness. It means being willing to be thoughtful. Love can translate a lot of ways, but it means showing care and compassion to other people. So, here's what I'd like to invite those of you who are in. You do not need to do this. It's not a statement that you don't believe in these things if you don't do this. But anyone who would like to, I'd like to invite you to come and stand around this central table and around our flag. It's going to be kind of crowded. But I'd like for us to gather around this for whoever's willing. And I'm going to invite the bowl to sound as we have a moment of silence and reflection simply on being the love that we are as human beings. And it is okay to sit on the side of this because, you know, we call it on the side of love. Not everybody has to be right actively standing up. It is okay to sit and hold presence for the circle. And I need a helper. Ellen, would you, okay, you got to be my helper. I'm going to have you hold this while I do the bowl. Hold it right here. So I invite you to take a deep breath. Whether you're gathered with us virtually, whether you're standing, whether you're sitting, we come to this place out of many rooms. We come to this place with many experiences, many different mental perspectives, thoughts about things, opinions about things. We come to this place from all kinds of different places. The purpose of being here is not to agree on everything. It's to open our hearts in a loving way, to make space for difference in a loving way, and to open to the possibility that we need not necessarily think alike to love alike. As we go through our service today, we're going to be talking about giving. Suzanne was talking about giving, but giving money is just an outward sign. Not everybody has the same amount of money or resources to give. What we're talking about giving is our open hearts, our presence, and our thoughtfulness to each other and to the world. May that be so. Thank you for standing up. I invite you to be seated. So today, we're going to be talking about community. And one of the most important things about community is just our simple presence with one another. Just our very simple presence. There are incredible gifts in sharing a meal, sitting in the same room, hearing somebody say something we disagree with and saying, wait a minute, I want to think about that. These are the simplest gifts, but they are richly available in our community. We're going to sing together, "'Tis a Gift to Be Simple." And Sandra, I would like for us to sing it twice, if you're so willing. So if you'd like to rise in body and spirit and join us in singing number 16, "'Tis a Gift to Be Simple," we'd love to hear your voices. And you can also remain seated if that's more comfortable for you.
'Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free, 'tis a gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow to bend, we shan't be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, till by turning we come round right. And again, 'tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free, 'tis a gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend, we shan't be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, till by turning we come round right.
Thank you, Sandra. So today we're celebrating the gift of being in a community. It doesn't actually matter how big the community is or how small. You guys can take a breath because I'm going to talk for a long time. Bridget and Nathan, just rest for a minute. You can just rest because it's going to be a minute. So we are going to be talking a tiny little bit about money, but actually it's really kind of about the heart more than the money. In a world that can be on its best days right now a little bit daunting, and a lot of the time kind of downright threatening and scary, it is good to have community. It is good to have communities of mutual care and support and encouragement. And it's good to work together to improve things in the world, to make it a little less scary and a little more positive and a little more healing. Each year we run this canvas or pledge campaign. Sometimes it's also called stewardship, which I'm going to talk more about in a little bit. We do this to enable us to continue our work. And we need to remember a couple of things. First, even though the pledge campaign is about making sure there's enough money to keep things running, as I have already said twice and I will say again, it's not actually about the money. Okay, finance team, just take a breath. Take a breath. Because money goes where hearts go. We put our money in what we believe in, and what we feel follows our heart. Okay? So we're going to talk about that. And second, you are in this room for a reason. You did not come here randomly. Now, I'm not saying that fate brought you to us, but I'm saying something inside you made you want to be a part of a community, or you wouldn't be here. You'd be out doing something else this morning, or you'd still be in your jam. Man, maybe you're still in your jammies. Go for it. Those of you who are virtual, you are here with us in your jammies. But if you're here, you're here, and that's for a reason. People gather for a reason. So I've been reading a lot about this concept of stewardship, right? We are talking about stewardship, which is different. It's got a little different feel to it than pledging. Stewardship, caring for our resources. So I went down this rabbit hole of reading about stewardship leadership, and that led me to some other things that I'm going to tell you all about. But I read this wonderful quote. Beatrice Barbzeni recently described leadership in a way that caught my attention, because it suggests a meeting place where individuals who want to lead and take action, where that meets together in collection, in collectivity in groups. She says this: leadership is a set of skills which concern the ability of an individual, a group, or an organization to lead, and this is important, to lead and influence other individuals, communities, groups, and organizations. So when we think about why we're here together, and I invite you to think about why you specifically are here, we're going to think about what it means for us as individuals who want to lead change in the world, because we wouldn't be in a UU church if that weren't some part of our stuff, right? If you are in this building, you as an individual have some desire to be some kind of leader in some kind of way. We're going to think about how that comes together as collective leadership to other individuals and other organizations. Okay? And now, Bridget and Nathan, you can prepare yourselves. Suzanne's going to introduce our offering.
This is the time when we take offering for maintaining our beloved church, our beloved community. And we share 25% of that with a Share the Plate partner, which this quarter is Bridges. It's for people coming out of prison. So supporting that and supporting us, we'll take the offering. Thank you.
So I said a few minutes ago that we can think of leadership in these ways as individual and collective. We can think of leadership as a quality or a role that is demonstrated by an individual or by a group or by an organization. And this idea that organizations can be leaders to other organizations in the world, now that's not particularly new, right? We think about that, organizations that are thought leaders or whatever. But people who talk about these things a lot are finding that they have to talk about it slightly differently now than ever before, and that is because of technology. Okay? Think of how fast things change in our world right now. With the advent of mass communication systems and artificial intelligence and all the other kinds of technologies, the advancements of the late 20th and early 21st century, things just move really, 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 really fast now in ways that they didn't 150 years ago. There were certainly bursts and leaps of change, but the kind of velocity with which change occurs on a global scale now is truly unprecedented. So Salim Ismail, who's a leading innovator in organizational thinking, and I'm going to talk more about him in a minute, he says this about our world. Today, either you're the disruptor or you're being disrupted. It's that simple. He goes on to say, accelerating technologies are changing business and the world at large so quickly that it would almost count as operational malfeasance for executives not to rethink their values and standard operating procedures in favor of becoming more exponential. So there's a lot to unpack there, and I'm going to unpack a lot of it, but let's sit with that for a minute. First, let's just take today, either you're the disruptor or you're being disrupted. Ask yourself a question. How much do you feel like the disruptor? And how much do you feel like the disrupted? Isn't it true that we are much of the time grappling with either feeling like other people are pushing us to change so much so darn fast, or conversely, that we wish others would just hurry up and get on board with the absolutely necessary and essential inevitable change that we are already behind? And I bet you most of us spend a little time in both of those camps, both the disruptor and the disrupted. The truth of the matter is, that's the kind of world we live in right now, okay? It's really true that we're all caught up in a whirlwind of incredible change on our planet. Now, we might perceive that as a good thing or a bad thing, depending on the subject or the particular mood we're in on any given day, right? Some days we may show up here and be like, yes, challenge me, Carol. And other days we might be like, oh, please not again, right? Make it easy today, right? But that's kind of where we are. So what the heck does he mean when he says we must rethink our values and our procedures in favor of being more exponential? So, have any of you ever recently heard this term referring to businesses, the EXO? Anybody ever heard that? It's new to me. EXOs, EXOs? Okay, well, you've been experiencing the impact of EXOs, and now you have a name for them. EXOs, this was a term coined by Salim Ismail, and it's short for exponential. And it's a term that he coined to describe the sorts of organizations that shape our world today. Google, Uber, Airbnb, DoorDash, TikTok, right? These are organizations whose impact is exponential compared to their relative seeming size and resources. Guys in a garage with some computer technology. Right? Exponential impacts on our planet relative to what you would think they'd be able to do, and relative to what we're used to. These are organizations whose impact is so large that they shape our collective reality. Now, Ismail is the former head of innovation at Yahoo. He then founded both something called Singularity University and Open Exo. So Open Expo, Open Exponential, right? Open Expo is a collaborative of thinkers and doers. These are innovators and business consultants and coaches and investors and all kinds of people who are transforming business and organizations by thinking bigger, thinking more powerfully about being change makers in the world. That quote that we started with by Beatrice Barbazzani, who talked about how organizations and individuals can all be leaders, that came from an article which was on Open Expo's site in their Exo Insight online series. And her essay is titled Steward Leadership, a Synergic Approach for a World with a Future. Okay, now, so here we are, we've got the world changing at an incredibly rapid pace. We've got that kind of technology enabling institutions to have exponential impact. And there are certain, when we say synergic, that means, wow, 1 and 1 makes 17, right? Two things come together and they have a bigger impact than you would think they could, right? But the piece in that title about her, that she was talking about this, really gave me pause. A synergic approach for a world with a future. Now, what is implicit in the fact that she has to state a world with a future? That gave me pause. It's striking to me that she doesn't assume that we assume a world with a future. She's starting with the premise that we need to approach things in a way that ensures a world with a future, which is powerful, but it is also a baseline core question of many people, particularly younger people in our world right now. People do not necessarily assume that there's a future. This is the first time in the history of our planet as a whole, probably, that we've had such a global collective question is, will there even be a planet? Will there even be people on the planet sometime in the future? So an EXO is an exceptional organization that has the power to influence that future, that outcome, that we're all moving into. Not just by getting by and doing fine, but because, as we have already established, if we agree with this model, things just doing business as usual is no longer an option in the world we live in. We can't assume that left to itself, the world will continue on. Now, it might, but I know that when I talk to you all and other people, some of the things people say is, if we just let things go on as they're going to go on, well, then humanity will cease to be on the planet. Or some other kind of catastrophic, apocalyptic, post-apocalyptic vision is what pops up for people, right? Not that I'm saying that that is true, but I'm saying that we're thinking about it that way, in a global way that we've never done before. So we need to think about ourselves as individuals and as an organization in that context. And we need to be able to adapt and ride the waves of this change we're going through in a way that helps to ensure a world with a future. In other words, we don't really much have a choice about being actively rather than passively engaged in what's happening. We have to ask, what does that mean for us as individuals and as collectives? Now, this does not mean everybody has to go to all those events over the next couple of days. But it does mean we have to be open on our hearts and our minds to think about, what does that mean for me? Salim Ismail describes what he sees as the most important quality of an organization, and I would apply this to an individual as well, an EXO that's effective. He says they have what he calls an MTP, a massive transformational purpose. An MTP goes beyond, and I sometimes translate this in my own head as a miraculous transformational possibility or potential. Think of it how you like. But that goes beyond a basic mission or vision statement to just doing, something good, to something really big. So he was interviewed by a marketing expert, Jonathan Jeffrey, and he said this about massive transformational purposes. The massive transformational purpose is bigger than a mission statement. It's why you do what you do, why you get up in the morning, why your organization exists in the first place. It's a higher aspirational purpose, and it's about thinking big. Radical transformation is its goal. Examples of some great MTPs include, and these are his quotes, Boston Children's Hospital, "Until every child is well," is theirs. Best Friends Animal Rescue, "Save them all." TED, "Ideas worth spreading." And Google, "Organize the world's information." These are big, ambitious, grand challenges and the directional North Star for their organizations. Okay, now, obviously Westside is a small little church. Clearly, our version of exponential is different than Google's definition of exponential, but the principles still apply here. We have a seemingly small amount of resources, a seemingly small number of people, but don't we all want that kind of participation in something that's moving all of us in a better way? Like, I really want you to think about that for a minute. Doesn't everyone in this room and listening virtually, either today or later in the week, don't we all want to be on the side of positive transformational change for our planet? Isn't that who we are? Didn't we show up here because no matter what we think our personal role in it is, didn't we show up in a UU congregation because we actually think that that's possible or want to believe it's possible? Unitarian Universalism is not about the status quo. It's about radical transformation. The ironic thing about Unitarian Universalism is we have these generational waves where we change the status quo and then we get comfortable in it, and then the next generation comes along and says, "New status quo!" And then we get comfortable, and the next generation comes, right? We are a denomination that is committed to constantly being in that movement forward. And that's about radical transformation of our world. Now, we may all have different priorities for which things we really care about transforming, right? It may be about particular political issues. It may be about particular economic issues. It may be about particular personal or interpersonal issues, right? We may have different priorities today from last week or from the person sitting next to us, but we do all have this willingness to want to see change happen. I think that we, being in this room, whether we acknowledge it consciously or not, is a physical intention to make the world better. Or we wouldn't be here. But the trick is determining our own personal MTP and our collective MTP. Where does the individual and the collective meet in that? Now, right now, like lots of organizations, whether they're businesses, startup businesses, or churches, or schools, or all kinds of organizations, we're asking the question, who are we in this new reality? Why are we here? And I don't think that that's a question that we collectively answer quickly, because a massive transformational purpose has to be something that we are willing to actually think about, feel into, and then actually commit to collectively. One of the leading tools in this new move towards exos, or exponential organizations, is a leadership model that became popular in the late 20th century. It's called stewardship leadership, and it's in that title of Beatrice Barbazzani's essay. It's a hot topic in all the EXO discussion boards. So if you go online to open EXO and you look at their EXO Insight, right, they're talking about different leadership models. And stewardship leadership is this model. And I'm telling you about it not because I think you ought to think about what your corporations that you know about are doing. I want you to think about this in terms of how you lead your own life. Okay? So, we get to be leaders in our own lives, and we get to be leaders in our families, and we get to be leaders in our communities. So there are three, if you can break it down loosely into three old, new, and really new kinds of leadership. Traditional leadership is top-down. all right? The people with the power and the resources are in charge, and everyone else serves them to get a little piece of the resources, right? Think of a company where the owner had the original idea for the product, and the goal is to make that person money, and everyone on the team is helping that person make money, and they might get a little bit of the money as a result, okay? So the thing that's being served is the leader. They're getting served. Okay? That applies in families too, where there's a very top-down family structure, right? There's somebody who's the boss, and everybody else's job is to be in line with the boss. Okay. This can apply at every possible level you can possibly think of. Now, a very different model than this that is often spoken about in particularly religious communities is something called servant leadership. And servant leadership is where the team is actually the priority, and the leader's job is to serve the team. Okay? So, a church can be a really good example. The minister and the administrator and the musicians and the staff exist to meet the needs of the congregation. Okay? So, Brad and I and Elizabeth and all our job is, in a servant leadership model, is to say, what do y'all want from us? What do you need? And to fill that need. Okay? Now, servant leadership is a good move away from this sort of top-down, I get my stuff, I'm in power, you give it to me kind of model. It's a good version that says, hey, the people actually count. They actually, they count. Stewardship leadership is sort of a hybrid between those. So one of the websites I looked at is for this leadership academy called Full Sail Leadership Academy. And they had some wonderful information on their website that described this way of thinking about things, okay? So think about this in your own life, the choices you make in your own life. Steward leadership is different than these other models. A steward leader cares for the team members, the organization, and society as a whole. Their actions are done in the interest of growth for the organization's mission, vision, and values. So to put a little bit of a spin on this, we can ask ourselves, do I live my life as a steward leader focused on my mission and values? In stewardship leadership, there is a higher, one might say, transformational purpose that directs choices and actions. And the leader is charged with holding the team and the bigger picture all at the same time. Now, I will tell you that's how I think of my job, right? It's how I think of my job. My job is not just to say, oh, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? It is to say, what do you need? But it's also to say, all right, what's our bigger vision? What's our bigger mission? How do we do that? How do we do that, right? That's why sometimes I give you nice fuzzy sermons about making you feel good, and other times I say, let's challenge ourselves a little bit, right? That is stewardship leadership. That's what I think your job is too. Your job is also stewardship leadership. Each of us has a miraculous, we'll call it a miraculous transformative potential if we are able to look at our own resources, our own passions, our own values, and steward them in a way that holds both what we need and also our bigger vision at the same time. So I'm going to say again, it isn't about the money. Because the money is only one resource. Super important resource, but it's not the only resource. It's a symbol of investment in a vision. So how many of you would invest in something you didn't believe in? Or that you didn't trust? Or whose mission you felt wasn't going to merit your time, energy, and resources? We show up for the things that we believe in. Now, sometimes we do that rather unconsciously. Sometimes we invest unconsciously in things that when we find out where our money went, we think, oh dear, I need to divest in that, right? Sometimes that happens. So informing ourselves and one another is part of stewardship leadership. We think about our resources and where they're going. The truth is, if we talk about the owners of this company that is, say, a church, It's you, me, you online. We are the owners, but we are not the only people who receive benefit, right? Because our mission and our vision are bigger than just those of us who are physically here or virtually here. In our world today, things are changing fast. Collectives that are willing and able to adapt and engage massive transformational change and purpose are the ones that get to decide if and what kind of future we have. Such organizations, by the nature of time we are living in, will have impacts that are exponential. We don't have to be a big, ginormous church to have an impact, right? As individuals and as connected people in a collective, we have the ability to choose and to create and to participate in and to lead adaptation and thriving in our own lives and in our world. We are the owners, we are the leaders, we are the stewards. We get to choose where we go. But not everybody here has to be an activist. You don't all have to show up at the things the next couple of days. Not everybody has to be engaged in a reissue. Not everybody has to be doing a lot of disrupting, right? But we do all have to be transforming ourselves and our world in small and medium and big and huge ways, in whatever way is true for each of us. So Full Sail, this Leadership Academy, Full Sail Leadership Academy, and lots of other organizations describe some basic qualities. And that's what I really want us to think about. So these are the qualities they describe that are necessary to be this kind of a leader or participant in this kind of change. So I'm going to read them through real quick once, then I'm going to go through them just a little bit more in detail, because that's what I really want to leave us with. So here are the 9 components they talk about: personal vision, personal mastery, shared vision, mentoring, vulnerability and maturity, valuing diversity, experimentation and risk-taking, raising awareness, and delivering results. And I've sort of decided, heads up to the worship team, I'm going to be talking about these for a really long time. Okay? We're going to be shaping some worship around them, but let me go through them really quickly. Personal vision, knowing what you individually are passionate about and what you are willing to put your energy into. Personal mastery, acquiring the knowledge, developing the skills, and being willing to make personal changes to live the values that match your personal vision. Shared vision, coming together to discuss how those individual visions work together, right? How we can amplify into one larger collective vision. Mentoring, supporting one another in all the ways that we can, teaching each other. The next one's a little trickier: vulnerability and maturity, being able to show up fully with our strengths and our weaknesses, being able to respond to one another as well as to our circumstances with strength and grace and listening and commitment. Valuing diversity rather than expecting everyone else to agree with us or be the same as us. That part requires that maturity part. The vulnerability and maturity is required for the valuing diversity. Experimentation and risk-taking, being willing to try things out, reflect on them in mature and vulnerable ways, and try again. Raising awareness, being able to share with one another and with the world our insights, our understandings, and wisdom, and being willing to hear such information coming towards us when it's offered. And finally, delivering results, holding ourselves and one another accountable so that we know that all this effort isn't being wasted, but that we're actually holding ourselves and each other accountable. And that is a lot. That's a lot. So I don't expect you to, there's not going to be a test next week. I'm not going to hand out a piece of paper that says, do you have your personal vision established? Right? This is a process, it's a journey, and that's one of the amazing things about community. We get to engage together in a journey that is about ourselves, our vision, our purpose, and how that applies in the world. And that also requires some nurturance and care and tending to one another. It requires those weeks when I say, you all are so awesome. Everyone's just like, rest. Rest is good, right? Because it's exhausting. So one of the things I'm passionate about, my personal vision, is creating spaces where that kind of transformational work and the rest and recuperation that it requires in a balance go together, where they go hand in hand, where we can act and then reflect. We can share and then retreat, where we can build our energy, not because we're going to stay static. We're not resting to stay static, but we're resting to get our energy ready for the next step, the next adaptation, the next willingness to see things get better. So today was a pushing you forward action sermon, okay? But nicely enough, some wonderful people have prepared a luncheon for us, which will be the resting part, the nurturing part, the caregiving. We need both. Hopefully together as a collective, we are able to create and participate in a space that allows us to be agents of rest and agents of transformation, that allows us to take our time and take a breath and then say, you know, I feel ready to I'm going to read that article, or I'm going to go to that event, or I'm going to have that conversation, right? One of the most important qualities we need in order to do that is appreciation. It's really hard to feel like we have the energy to change and move forward if we don't take time to just say, I'm so glad that somebody made lunch for me today. I'm so glad that there are other people around me. I'm so glad that it's a beautiful day. I'm so glad for the things that I do have in my life. Even as we move through transformation, we have to appreciate and rest and abide in the gifts that are already here. So we're going to have a little exercise in appreciation and co-creation now as our closing hymn. Your order of service tells you that there's a number you can look at this, but you're not going to be able to look at the number. There's no hymnal. We're going to do this as a call and response song. We're going to do it a cappella without any notes on the piano. We are together going to co-create a song, and we're not going to use hymnals. You're going to hear the words, and you're going to sing them back, and we're going to do it a couple of times. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the choir to stand up, and I'm going to ask half the choir to be in the front of the room as the leaders and half the choir to be in the back of the room as the responders. So some of us will be call and some of us will be response. Ellen, why don't you go be with response? And everybody else stand up. If you feel like it, you can sit. That's totally fine. All right, now what's going to happen is this. Those of us up here are going to sing a line, and then they're going to help the rest of you sing it back. And then we're going to sing another line. You're going to sing it back, and we'll go through the whole thing a couple of times. And it's okay if it's not perfect. It's really okay. This is an exercise in vulnerability, co-creation, and appreciation. All right? You don't know the words? Well, get in the response, and I'll be the call then. That's okay. That's all right. I'll be the call. All right. Nope, stewardship, leadership. All right, here we go. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for those gathered here and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Let's do it again. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for those gathered here and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. You did beautifully. Now you can remain standing. If you would like to join hands, you're invited to do that. But we're going to remain standing and just feel a way to connect with your neighbors. You are welcome to join hands. You are welcome to hold your hands in the air. You're welcome to put your hands in your pockets, whatever makes you happy. We give thanks today for this gathered community. We give thanks for the shared ability to gather courage, renewal, support, and encouragement when things are difficult. And we give thanks for the challenges that being in community brings, inviting us forward into newness, into possibility, and into our own miraculous, transformative potential. As you go into this amazing luncheon that's going to be provided for us, and into your day, into your week, and into your world, know that you are a steward of all that is possible and can be a leader in your own life and in the world that we build as we go forward. Go in peace, go in passion. May it be so.
And help us transform this world.